it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, February 27th. So we have the moon in Gemini all day, and of course we're going to have our first quarter moon in Gemini early this morning. The first quarter moon is always a crisis point, always a kerfuffle, and it brings to our awareness and illuminates for us where it is that we have to take action on some of the seeds that we planted under the new moon in Pisces. So although the first quarter moon usually brings up conflict, usually brings up tension, that conflict and tension does kind of show us where it is that our attention, our focus, our energy is needed. And from that boiling point, we tend to kind of see where it is that we have to go from here, the path, the direction, the actions that we have to take from here in order to bring forth the elements that are needed in order for us to build our dreams and visions, again, according to what it is that we were focused on with the new moon in Pisces. So the moon in Gemini, again, very curious. We have a lot of pressure in the mental plane. We are looking to be social, looking to be communicative. We look outside of ourselves for stimulation. And of course, that is a very vast contrast to the last couple of days with the moon in Taurus energy, where we were all kind of, content to be introverted and just kind of keep to ourselves and slow the pace up a little bit. This Gemini energy, we're definitely feeling the speed pick up. We should have felt that here yesterday. We're feeling the wheels turning in our mind space, in our heart space as well. And we're really trying to divvy out the pros and cons of the path, the direction, the choices that we're currently contemplating. So with 9 different aspects here today, 7 of them involving the moon on a moon day, we can definitely expect there to be a little bit of a cluster F of thoughts and emotions that will eventually, as the day progresses, lead us to a firm decision, a firm commitment, a realization on the action that is needed. And of course, we will feel a lot more powerful, a lot more motivated at the end of the day than we will at the beginning. So the very first aspect that we have popping off here today is between Mercury and the true node. Lucky for us, it's a positive one. Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, ruler of communication. In Aquarian energy, just in the highest form of intellect possible. We're acting as the observer. We're trying to see the greater, grander picture, and we're trying to zoom in on the smaller details of that greater, grander picture in order for us to put the pieces together to actually reveal the direction, the path that we're trying to take. Even more than that, we're trying to bust through the limiting narratives that we currently have in our head that's really preventing us from going after what it is that we want. Even more than that, we are looking to improve, to better our lives, to see where it is that we can do things differently, constantly pushing those boundaries of our comfortability in order for us to go after something that we are currently exploring, whether or not we're excited enough, passionate enough, and have enough desire to actually pursue. So Mercury interacting with the true node in this way is actually giving us a little bit of insight on the path forward. We are able to see, because the true node is the path that we need to be on, we are starting to see where it is that, some options are coming up for us. Some possibilities are coming up for us. The division that we've been feeling on these 2 paths, 2 choices, 2 directions, 2 decisions, they're becoming a little bit more focused on one over the other. So this is very indicative that we are starting to put the pieces together and see where it is that the stepping stones actually need to be manifested, and where it is that we need to take action on some of these very preliminary steps that are going to lead us into the greater, grander direction that we are excited to pursue. So 3:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the moon squares off with the sun. And when the moon squares off with the sun, this gives us our first quarter moon. So the moon is in Gemini, very curious, very much trying to ask the right questions and gain the right answers and gain the right knowledge and wisdom that we need in order to be informed on what it is that we want to do when moving forward. We have to make sure that our heart and our head are in agreement. The moon in Gemini tries very hard to kind of bridge the dualistic and contrasting decisions and choices and the gap that we may start the day off with, or that we may have been sitting in. When we have 2 very different extreme choices and options, we have to do the work in order to find that middle ground. And squaring off with the sun in Pisces, of course, the sun shining very bright in this Pisces energy is a focus on our dreams, on our visions, on our healing, on our path forward. So first quarter moon always brings a little bit of stress, a little bit of discontentment, a little bit of agitation. It's a very high, potent, electric type of energy, and, can bring on anxiety, can bring on nervousness because we're edgy. We feel like we have to do something, but we don't know what we are going to do. And just as we expect this energy to kind of peak, once it reaches this peaking point, it's going to reveal to us where it is, yes, that the obstacles are, but where it is that we're able to push through them. And as the first quarter moon kind of reaches its peak energy, it will push us into developing more of a motivation, more of an inspiration for us to kind of be determined enough to put the blinders on and really kind of see where it is that we need to push forward, where we need to heal, where we need to grow, where it is that we need to take action on making some of the moves that we have to make in order to commit to a choice, to a path, to a dream, to a vision, to a decision. The moon will sextile Venus. This is a beautiful energy, especially seeing how yesterday we were a little bit disconnected from our head space, from our heart space, from our higher self. It definitely led us into a lot of confusion. But the moon sextiling with Venus in this particular energy is a good thing. This means that our heart is definitely reconnected. We are tapping in to what it is that we want, need, and desire in order for us to create a happy, stable, solid footing in our lives where happiness and joy and pleasure becomes more of, I'm going to say, incorporated in our daily lives so that it's not a one-off. It's not just waiting for the weekends. It is something that we are consciously bringing to life in our day-to-day. And the moon and Venus coming together, of course, Gemini energy that the moon is in and Aries energy that Venus is in. This is the campfire analogy that I use quite often between oxygen and air, and of course, fire. And what we get here, if we can balance it out, is a clear vision on what it is that we want, what it is we need, what it is we desire in our lives, especially where personal relationships are concerned. Because, of course, Venus is in Aries energy. She's starting a brand new chapter. She's really being a little bit more direct and straightforward and trying to identify what makes her happy and excited and passionate. So we are putting the pieces together on what it is that we've been lacking. And from what it is that we've been lacking, we can figure out what it is that we need to create. The moon sextiles Jupiter shortly after. Again, Jupiter is in this Aries energy as well. Now, what I love about this is the hype girl energy that we need. And Jupiter is about growth and expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings. He is the spiritual wisdom that we've accumulated from some of the tough love life lessons. And what he's doing here with the moon in Gemini is hyping us up, building our confidence up, really inflating our self-esteem. We are reaching a point where we're sure about certain aspects of the opportunities that we want to go out and create for ourselves. We are sure about where it is that we are reinventing ourselves. And this particular energy fires us all up in the right ways and is preparing us to make big and major moves. Now, Mercury will bump into Neptune in not the nicest way, and this is likely where we're going to gain a lot of confusion from that very brief moment of clarity early on. We do kind of get overwhelmed in our thoughts, in our feelings. We do kind of see too big of a picture, and we kind of disconnect with what needs to happen on a smaller sense, on a smaller scale, in order for those pieces to snap together to actually reveal the bigger, broader picture. So everything's becoming a little bit vague, a little bit wishy-washy. We're not so sure on what it is that we're even doing. We're having a hard time aligning with our intuition. We're having a hard time remembering our dream and our vision. This is typically speaking when a lot of the negative narratives will kick in. But we're not going to sit in it for too long because the moon goes ahead and sextiles Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. And this is a beautiful energy for a huge amount of healing, a huge shift in emotion, a huge shift in our thoughts and our narratives, and a huge amount of growth. There is a transformation taking place in our emotional realm. And this is a prime example of where the energy shifts after the first quarter moon kind of pops off. Yes, it's a boiling point, but then we start coming down off of that boiling point and we become motivated and inspired to continue to push forward, to continue to grow. And the moon sextiling Chiron in this way is definitely indicative that we have realized where the negative narratives are, where the obstacles are, where the challenges are. And yeah, we might have sit in the funk for a little bit. Yeah, we might have let negative Nancy get in our head and in our ear just a tad, but overall, we're picking ourselves up and we're overriding that negative narrative. The moon goes ahead, bumps into Pluto in not the nicest way, but does kind of show us in our inner realm where there is a huge change and transformation taking place, starting with the way that we're looking at things. It's about a perspective change. Pluto works on the psyche level, the psychological level, and the minute that we can shift our perception and our understanding is the minute that we can change our emotions. And it is very indicative right now with this particular aspect that, yes, our minds are spinning, we're debating some things, our heart space is in alignment with our head space, and because of that, the domino effect of changing just our mental narrative or changing our understanding or changing our perspective then goes ahead and changes the emotional state that we're in. The moon bumps into Uranus in not the nicest way. But here's the thing. Uranus is the great awakener. He brings like a lightning bolt, an aha moment into our mind space. This is like a shift in perception. This is understanding where a great change is needed. And because Uranian energy is in Taurus energy, the physical realm, we're starting to see where we need to make changes in our routines, in our relationships, in our money matters, maybe in the skills and the talents that we've been kind of sleeping on and keeping in the back burner. It's really time for us to shift our inner realm, shift our perception, have this aha moment, have this epiphany, and kind of orient to a brand new direction. Now, the last aspect that we're going to have here today is the moon coming up to, bumping into, conjunct Mars, who of course has been in Gemini energy since August. So what this is going to do for us is this is going to hype us up in all the right ways. This means that our ambition is coming to the forefront. Our inspiration is coming to the forefront. We're hyped up and we're motivated. We're ready to take action. And if presented with the right opportunity and your heart and your head align, go ahead and take action on what it is that whatever it is that you're feeling. Now, this isn't impulsive. So if you haven't thought of this thus far or haven't spent enough time thinking about the action in which you're taking, then don't take it. We're not acting on impulse. However, Mars being in Gemini since August means that we've been debating between different choices, different possibilities, different directions, different decisions. And we should be leaning towards one over the other as Mars kind of finishes up his journey in this Gemini energy. So if presented with an opportunity where your heart and your head agree, where this is something that you've been putting a lot of thought into, where you've weighed the pros and cons, where you understand the long-term consequences of your actions, and you still feel good about it, take the action. If you're not presented with an opportunity to take action, let that fuel, let that fire kind of, reignite in you. Let that excitement, that passion, that desire really kind of take over and inspire you and motivate you to be determined enough to actually see things through. And if for some reason you are tapping into the shadow elements of this particular aspect, which means anxiety and anger and frustration and agitation, then do a deep dive in those negative thoughts, in those negative feelings, and seeing what it is that you're actually mad about. Chances are it's not surface level. Chances are it comes down to not feeling focused, not feeling clear, not feeling confident, not feeling inspired, not knowing which direction to take. And again, that's okay. We're in Pisces season where everything is dazed and confused anyways. But if you are tapping into the not so nice realm of these thoughts and feelings, then use that as a tool, as a resource to get to the bottom of the barrel of the actual issue on why it is that you're feeling agitated, you're feeling angered, you're feeling frustrated. Again, it can go either way. It's up to us to monitor how this energy will be manifested in our bodies.